too deep. Not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
Hi, Jack Berry.
Hi, Grace Helbig. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep.
Thank you. I feel welcome.
Yeah, good. I'm working on my hosting skills. It's been a long, arduous journey.
No, I appreciate it.
Talking about Father's Day.
That's right. Father's Day is coming up.
My dad is like a call guy, but hot tip on a great Father's Day gift. I got my dad like a beer of the month club thing.
Ooh.
And they send, you can customize all these. We should get sponsored by this. Not Spawn.
Yeah,
but,
really. Brilliant.
well, there's all different kinds. And so I think I got him like European lagers or something. And so every month he gets like 3 different ones to try. And then you can like go back on the website if you liked one of them and order more.
That's fantastic. Yeah, because dads are like notoriously impossible to buy gifts for.
Yeah, and my dad doesn't want anything like materialistic at all. Like he only gets clothes because my stepmom buys them for him. He would wear his Nike like running pants with a sweatshirt tucked into them every day, which is my dad loves to tuck his sweatshirt into his sweatpants, and I've never understood it, but I appreciate his fashion statement.
Sure.
He goes outside the box. Another, what I get my stepdad for Father's Day, meat of the month.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
These monthly subscription boxes are great. You get like different steaks and stuff.
Yeah.
And he loves it because he's not like into beers much. So
those things are cool too, because it's like the gift that keeps on giving. Like I was staying with a friend for a couple of days and I wanted to say thank you, and she's got this amazing dog.
Yeah.
So I got her a Bark Box.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Why aren't we sponsored by them either?
Well, we were actually.
Oh, we were.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we didn't get enough of you to sign up for it, and so they have relinquished their sponsorship.
I use the offer code. Don't worry.
Okay, phew. As long as we got the offer code.
Yeah, don't worry.
Go check it out. See if offer code Grace or Not Too Deep works on BarkBox. Let's go check it out for us, guys. Report back.
Spawn.
One of the most modern father-related concepts that I'm on board with is dad bods.
Oh, yes.
Dad bods are a trendy thing.
Dad bod.
I feel like this has only come about because of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes. Leonardo DiCaprio's dad bod.
He got dad bod, and then that became the terminology used.
Yeah.
Which I think is hilarious, slightly degrading, but ultimately there's some sweetness to it.
Yeah. It's a sort of like this idea that like, based on like the original article that I had read it was.
Oh, you read an article about dad bods?
Like that's like,
you did your research.
Like where it came from, apparently. Yeah, this young woman wrote an article about it being like, guys are too fit. They're intimidating. I don't like it. I prefer my guys to be a little doughy.
Yeah.
A little like squishable.
I'm with her. I might have written this article. I don't remember.
Yeah, because like when you see like these like chiseled like cover of GQ, like Ronaldo or something like that, you're just sort of like, wow, you're like an Adonis. It's
a lot of work. It feels like it's a lot of work. It's stressful almost.
Sure.
However, for someone like Ronaldo, where it's your job to be an athlete, I fully understand that. That's that was, you worked out. That's your work.
Sure.
Like Chris Hemsworth, I just saw Infinity War. He looked fantastic.
Yeah, he's looked good for decades, though.
Yeah, ever. But then you're like, this is just kind of stressful to look at, to keep. My brain thinks about the maintenance that you have to do.
Yeah, I can understand that. I would feel intimidated if I was dating like a 10 out of 10 woman as well. Like, and so I understand the appeal, but I think what's interesting is that like it kind of got a little bit shifted, because like when they were asking like, so who's like got the perfect dad bod, her response I think was John Hamm.
Oh, see, I guess
because like her opinion of it was just sort of like, or like what you would like, remember like Magnum PI, that like Tom Selleck show from like the 80s?
I've heard of it. I couldn't tell you what Tom Selleck looked like on the show though.
But like I think that's an example where it's just like he's buff, he's got some muscle, but he also like will have a beer and eat some pizza on the weekends. And I think somehow it kind of got like, oh, that she means like Chris Pratt on Parks and Rec, when he was just like really doughy, and that's not actually what she meant. She was like, no, it's that balance of like fit.
The dad that keeps in shape, but he doesn't
who plays catch
live
with
in
his
the
kids.
gym. Yeah. He's got to help with homework.
But he also doesn't mind eating some fried chicken.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I know that's the weird thing. I feel like that there's this appreciation for the dad bod. Wonderful. But then there is the other side of it, which is kind of the anger about like a dad bod getting in shape, like Chris Pratt. I feel like a lot of people had mixed emotions when he got super buff. That they were like, "What are you doing?"
It is,
but like, good for him if he wants to.
Listen, I think that's great. I love body transformation stuff because I find it really inspiring.
Very inspiring.
Because I also kind of went through a little bit of one myself. Like,
yeah, you did. I saw you post a Throwback Thursday, or your old headshot one.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I didn't even know you had a headshot on like Old Headshot Day. If you guys haven't treated yourself to the delight that is Jack Ferry's old headshot, please go check it out.
Instagram, yes.
Yeah, I was like, who is this? I opened my Instagram. I was shooting This Might Get, and yours came up first. And I was like, who is this that I'm following? Oh my God, it's Jack Ferry. Oh my. And then I went to Mamrie on set. I was like, did Jack Ferry say, I already saw it. I already saw it. You looked a little bit like old school Chris Hardwick.
Oh, okay.
Like singled out era, Chris Hardwick. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
But you went through it. Yeah. You went through a body transformation for sure.
Yeah. I was just, when I got to LA, I was like, oh, everyone here is beautiful. I need to like get on my bike and the weather's so nice that
you're like.
Yeah. And I was inspired by people like him because he got into sick shape.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah. And it's funny too because like, he's like one of the biggest movie stars in the world now. And it's like, if you told me that 10 years ago, like, yeah, see that like doughy funny dude on this TV show?
Yeah,
he's going to be like the world's biggest movie star in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? He's going to be like the star of like the Jurassic Park franchise, one of Marvel's most successful superhero franchises.
You know what's also nuts? When you look back at old school, do you smell what The Rock is cooking era, The Rock?
Oh, sure.
He's got a dad bod.
Yeah.
He's wearing black tank tops, but his arms aren't super cut.
Yeah, I know. When you go way back in his career, like if you see him in like Southland Tales, like he looks... He did like a Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
He's just getting more and more jacked. I think he's just sort of like,
nuts.
I want to be in peak physical shape by the time I hit age 60. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
He's like so jacked right now.
I want to be ready to star in a blockbuster film at any point of the day, every day.
Yeah.
And his stuff also, speaking of like inspiring, is really inspiring what he posts on his Instagram. When you see him working out at like 5 a.m. I also saw him post a story, I think I talked about this before, like years ago, that he travels with his damn treadmill. He brings it to like his hotel room.
And he doesn't even like a name for it too.
Yeah, it's a woman and he loves her. And she's really sweet, apparently. But I'm like, yeah, if your job is to look a certain way and you have the ability to bring all of the accoutrements that you need to do that.
I mean, that's a little extra. I think I maybe just book a hotel that has a decent gym.
That's also an alternative. Yeah, that is the alternative. If you don't have a private jet that fits your personal treadmill
it just feels a little... you know.
But he's another amazing transformation. Mitchell, we've talked about, had a big transformation in terms of his, body positivity and all that good stuff.
Yeah. I think there's just... there's a lot of that going on. Even like Tyler Oakley, for instance. Have you seen him recently?
He came to do an episode of This Might Get. I hugged him and I was like, what's going on under these clothes?
I know, where all those muscles come from all of a sudden.
He looks incredible.
Like it happened quickly too. Like he got jacked in like half a year.
A year. I asked him like, when did this start happening? He's like, probably about a year. And you can tell his whole personality is like, he was never depressed or, noticeably sad or anything.
He's like even more confident.
He's just, he's unstoppable. It's almost like make him eat pizza again because he's unstoppable now.
I know.
But it's really inspiring. And he's like, it just makes me feel good now. He's at that workout phase where you're like, the endorphins are what I need and crave versus I'm swallowing blood and just have to get through this workout.
I'm there too. Like this morning I went on a 30-minute bike ride and I felt amazing afterwards.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just like the perfect cup of coffee.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
Speaking of things that are good for you, we have a lovely guest on us today, Arden Cho.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. She's in the new movie, The Honor List.
That's right.
That's already out and available online for you guys to watch. If you haven't checked it out, Megan Ranks is in it. And Arden and I've never met before, and she is so incredibly sweet and has such a wonderful and interesting perspective on the entertainment industry.
Yeah, she's delightful.
She's so damn delightful and really inspiring in terms of an emotional sense about like how she's gone through trials and tribulations and still continues to face on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Plus, she's a YouTuber as well. But you forget that like she's got this whole channel that she had been doing and then kind of transitioned into acting and all of that. So she's got a lot of layers going on.
Yeah.
And she actually got told that she's got a lot of layers in her first acting class.
That's right, but don't give too much away.
I won't give too much away. We'll jump into it with the consummately lovely Arden Cho.
Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Support for today's episode of Not Too Deep comes from Third Love. Armed with the measurements of millions of women, Third Love bras are designed to fit real women, and I can attest to this as a real woman that has received a Third Love bra. And I typically only wear sports bras, not TMI, but they sent me a couple of their bras, and they are so insanely comfortable. And the best part is you don't have to have any more awkward fitting room experiences because they have a Fit Finder quiz, which helps you identify your breast shape and find the styles that fit your body in less than 1 minute. You just answer a few simple questions, and with 60 sizes ranging from AA through G, including half cup sizing, Third Love guarantees a perfect fit. And Third Love values comfort and quality with straps that won't slip, ultra soft smoothing fabrics, and lightweight memory foam cups. Their labels are even tagless, so it's not itchy at all. Plus, returns and exchanges are always free and easy. Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone, so right now they're offering my beautiful listeners 15% off your first order if you go to thirdlove.com/grace. Now, to find your perfect fitting bra, get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/grace for 15% off today.
Not Too Deep.
Today's episode of Not Too Deep is sponsored by Beyond Meat. The Beyond Meat burger, an uncompromisingly delicious plant-based burger that is packed with protein and better for you and the planet. I have tried this burger and it is so delicious. It's not your hippie college roommate's veggie burger. It's got a sizzling sensation created for meat lovers everywhere. In fact, it's the only plant-based burger that is so meaty, it's sold in the meat case at grocery stores nationwide. The Beyond Meat burger is made from simple ingredients applied in fresh ways. They use protein from peas, potato starch, and coconut oil without gluten, soy, or GMOs. The delicious plant-based Beyond burger comes with less baggage and more benefits, so you can eat what you love and feel better doing it. This summer, add some sizzle to your grill with this revolutionary burger that satisfies even the most ravenous of carnivores. Ready to taste the future of protein made from plants? Visit beyondmeat.com/grace and click the Where to Find button to find a local retailer near you. That's beyondmeat.com/grace.
Guys, it's so exciting. Arden Cho is here. Yay!
Yay!
Hello.
Hi. I was saying Megan Ranks was just on and she was telling us all about the honor list. And you actually play Honor.
Yes, I am Honor. I always thought that was funny.
I think that's great. She didn't want to give too much of the plot away, even though in the trailer you kind of understand. And by the time this airs,
it'll probably be out.
It will be out.
Because it comes out the 11th.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's a couple days.
Confirmation. Yes, there we go. That's so exciting. Have you guys been doing press and everything for that?
Yeah, we just sort of started about a week ago, but it's been really good. And people who've been seeing the movie have responded well. So that's always a good thing.
Have you seen the whole thing all the way through?
I have.
How was that experience? Because I can imagine that it could go one of two ways where you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. I'm so proud of this. Or, oh no.
So it was fun for me, especially because I feel like Honor is sort of trickled throughout.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of scenes that I didn't get to be there for while they were filming. So when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh my gosh. And then it's like they're talking about me. Right. So I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's like, it's feels. You just get all these feels and you're like, I love you guys. And that had all this FOMO because I was like, oh, I missed out on all this fun that they had.
Right. Because how much shooting did you actually, how much were you on set?
9 days.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fairly short. I mean, the whole movie was just, they just bam, 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 30 days or something like that. But yeah, so it was pretty short and kind of trickled throughout. But I think for me, watching the movie was really special because I feel like I could watch it as someone who worked on it, but also really as an audience member.
Yeah,
because Honor is dead.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, guys. But you get that from the trailer.
Right. And so because of that, I don't know. It was very emotional.
That's great because that's what we were talking to Megan a little bit about this audience feels like it's for young women. Like that sweet millennial female demo that is, I think, really in need of like a story about female friendship like this and like doesn't get it shown to them as frequently as you think they would. It feels very much like Now and Then, that movie, but like a newer version of it.
Right. We never really get something real and raw.
Mm-hmm.
It's always about just relationships or boyfriends and girlfriends or, I feel like there's so much more that happens in a teenage girl's life.
Right.
And this movie really wrestles with that in a very relatable way. And even things with family or, I don't know, I just love that a lot of times when you're young, you have broken friendships and you really don't know why.
True.
And this movie kind of touches on that in an interesting way where you see all the different perspectives and you see
That's awesome. I think that's great. Anything that handles female friendship in an authentic way, I am 2 thumbs up about.
Yeah.
But speaking of teens, you were on Teen Wolf.
Yes.
Okay. What is it like playing a teen as an adult?
Oh, man. So I think for me, that's always been so interesting. I'm in a really good place right now. Like right now, just this year, actually, I've been in this like, you know what? I'm not going to care about what people say. And I don't want to feel like judged or shamed. Like it's so funny. I've always grown up being that kid that was like, oh, I hope people like don't think I'm weird or I hope they like me. But now I'm like, dude, I'm weird and it's okay.
And it's celebrated.
And it's fine. Yeah. And so I think the age thing has always been this thing where early on in my career, I think about like maybe I started pretty late. I started acting when I was in my 20s. And so I remember when I was about like 27, 28, I felt like I would hear from people being like, well, you've never really done anything. So you're kind of too old to like really break it, like break out. You should kind of quit.
Motivating.
Yeah, no, but it was what I was hearing over and over. And then I actually was like, maybe I should. And then I was doing a lot of YouTube and I was doing music and I like sold my car, produced an album and then started doing shows. And then I was like, I'll just live like this. And I like chopped off all my hair and was like, I'm done acting and then booked Teen Wolf.
Really?
And I think it was because I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I just don't care anymore. I can't do this. And when my agent had sent me that audition, I was like, I can't play a 16-year-old. I was like, I'm going to be 30 soon. And
turns out you can.
I did. Yeah. And so like that, and that happened so fast.
Yeah. What was that process like?
You know, I went in, I auditioned, and then I got a call back, and then I did a producer session, and then I did, I know, it's so not glamorous. People think it's so cool. And it's like, no, I basically drove there 4 or 5 times that week and did the dance.
And did the song and dance and hope that they still liked you.
Yeah. And it's a whole process. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, we'll start like next week. And I was like, what?
Holy shit.
And so I was like, wait, but I have like shows planned and I have to
do stuff.
And my agent's like, no.
No, you don't.
Yeah, so I
you
was
have
like,
an MTV show now.
Oh, okay. So that I literally like canceled everything. I like put all my YouTube and music stuff on hold. And I was like, well, it's only like 2 or 3 episodes. I'll just do it after.
Right.
But then like 2, 3 episodes became like the next week and the next week. And then all of a sudden I did all the episodes in season 3. And then they were like, we want you to be a series regular for season 4. And we kind of like kept going with the seasons, no break. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we're on to like season 5. And then I don't even think I realized it was happening.
Yeah. Time must feel like an illusion at that point.
Yeah. Because you're also like working such long days. And then I think I was still so green that I was like, I'm just so happy to be working.
Right.
I'm here.
Right.
And then, you know, towards the end of it, you know, then the show lived a life and it was good. It was great. It was a really wonderful experience. And then that ended. And I remember telling my agent, like, now I want to play something closer to my age, like 20s.
Right.
I was I think teenage is hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard going to work with people that are 10 years younger than you. I love them. I really do.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you're like,
I don't
relate. It's like a constant reminder that you're old.
Yes.
A constant reminder that you're like,
I fully understand that. And as someone that works on YouTube, same thing is that you start to see this like new wave come in and it's all these freshmen and you feel like a super senior and you're like, they're making slime and I just don't want to do that. Right. I guess I'll do it eventually, but it's not as fulfilling as like doing something like home decor that I now care about as an adult. But I was going to ask about the fans of Teen Wolf must be kind of bonkers because it seems like that whole fandom is very intense.
I mean, I feel like the fans is what really made our show. Yeah. Like they kept us going. Yeah. They gave us so much love and so much support. Like we had this online fan base that was just like intense. And I feel like they were our army of like, I mean, if you think about it, without fans, you have nothing. Right. Because like if no one's going to watch your stuff, they're not going to keep making it. Totally. And so I love them. I always feel like they're like my like little kids or like my sisters and brothers. And like I love meeting them. It's so fun. But yeah, it's interesting because the whole age thing is always crazy to them because they'll be like, can we get married? And I'll be like, I could be your mom. They're like, what?
And I just watch their crushing reality.
Yeah, but then they're like, but maybe in 5 years when I'm old enough. And I'm like, okay, cool. We'll reconsider that.
Yeah. We'll circle back in 5 years. I'll set the timer.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes then. We'll see if you still like me. But yeah, right. You'll probably like somebody younger.
Right. But you got into acting because you majored in psychology, right?
Yes. So I majored in psychology, and it's kind of, I guess, weird because I was studying psych and I was, in college, but I was a really big introvert growing up, and we moved a lot. And so I always like felt awkward everywhere. Like I feel awkward right now. Like I don't know why I'm sitting here
Welcome
like this.
To the club.
I'm so glad there's no camera because I just am like, I'm always like,
damn.
And like, it's even like my stylist is always like, why do you always not want to like, you always want to like wear black and not let people see you, but you're like there for press. Like you kind of want to stand out sometimes. I'm like, I don't want people to look at me. But it's this weird thing where, I've always felt like that. It's just weird thing. It's like this, probably something happened to me as a kid. I'm like damaged. But so growing up, I always felt like, I don't want people to look at me, but I really love performing.
Right.
And I love acting. I love music. But I always wanted to like be in the school play.
Right.
But I didn't want to audition. And then I didn't know what a monologue was. And this is like before the internet times where you're like, what is a monologue?
Yeah,
we didn't just like type in the computer.
Right.
So I was like, I guess I can't audition because I don't know what a monologue is. And so then I never auditioned. But I always just was like, oh, I want to do that. And then in college, I took an elective, like a theater class.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was really bad because I was so uncomfortable.
Right.
And people were doing all these crazy things. And I was like, oh my God, they're so weird. I'll just sit in the corner.
Kids are very aggressive.
Yeah, and they're very like open with everything. And I was like,
there's a lot of touching that happens. But
so I was so uncomfortable. And then I was like, I wasn't like failing, but I wasn't doing well. And then like the professor was like, you're like an onion that has never been peeled. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Thank you.
Yeah, like saying like how people are like layers, like all these layers, but it's like I'm an onion with like bricks around me. Yeah. But it was interesting because like as a psych major, I studied in psych because I love people and I'm interested in how people are. And like I was really weird. Like I grew up in Amarillo, Texas, thinking I was white. And then I found out one day I wasn't. And I was like, what? So like all my life has been so confusing. And then I was like, I don't like being Asian. I'm like an alien because everywhere I go, I'm the only Asian. And so I think I've always had these like issues.
Sure.
And I always say I'm better now. But yeah. So I think the whole acting thing was interesting because I thought I'd learned these things from psychology.
Right.
But oddly enough, acting was like this really interesting form of therapy.
Yeah.
Because I realized like how like repressed I was because, Asians, it's like, oh, don't get too mad. Don't get mad. Always smile. Be nice. Don't be too loud. Don't be quiet. Also, you have to be heard, but not too loud because, you have to be like polite.
Right.
And if someone makes you mad, like it's okay. You just have to like bite your tongue.
Internalize
and I think that's why people say Asians are like the model minority, but it's really because we're just told not to rock the boat.
Sure.
Which now I think is terrible.
Right. Yeah.
Like if I share stuff on social media that's like something like sex trafficking. Like my mom will call me and be like, why did you post that?
Really?
I'll be like, Mom, because there needs to be awareness. She goes, yeah, but that's not like good. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, but it's
so we need
happening
awareness. And she's like, yeah, but it's like dirty, bad. And I'm like, yeah, oh, okay. So it's like in her mind, it's like, don't get involved. And I'm like, but I should. And I realize it's this cultural distance thing where it's like, even with our families, in the Asian culture, it's always, oh, no, you just pretend like everything's good, even if it's bad. Like Never ever be honest.
That's interesting.
And
I can relate to that.
But that's also
it's really
a Southern
hard
thing too.
And so I think it's mixture of, it's like, I get double because I'm from Texas and that.
Were your parents religious as well?
And Christian.
Yeah,
and
that'll do it. Because I grew up Catholic and I had a similar situation.
Triple threat. Jeez.
So it's hard because I always find like now that I'm really like, what does it mean to be a woman in this industry or a person of color or all these things? I realize that there have been so many situations in my career where I didn't stand up for myself or I didn't fight because I've been taught not to.
Right.
And how do you change that after 30 some years?
Right.
Like if I experience sexual harassment, which I always have, I've always been like, I don't shit where I eat. So good luck, dude. But then if I think about it, I'm like, why did I even let him say that? I should be like, don't say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's a time now where it's good for you to be speaking up, having a platform, and it feels like more voices are speaking up now, and it's becoming less of a stigma and less of a thing of feeling insecure about burning bridges or about not being, invited to the party next time or whatever it might be. I think it's amazing what you're doing. Do you feel any sense of pressure representing the Asian community in the entertainment industry?
Totally.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of projects that I have to say no to, even if maybe as an artist, I think it's cool.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm always thinking, how will this, help the movement?
Sure.
Because in the end, everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's so much better for Asian Americans. And I'm like, actually, it's not.
Yeah.
And it's tough because I feel like I burst bubbles sometimes, and I don't mean to. I'm just being realistic. We've got like 2 Asian families on TV, maybe 3, but that's just one type of Asian American family.
Right.
It doesn't even make me feel like it's relatable at all to mine. And I feel like until Asian Americans are normalized and just normal people, like normal teenagers, like we experience like heartbreak and we want a job and we're broke the same way as everybody else is.
Right.
But people love to just always make it about being an Asian American person. And so I think I always feel like
an other, making you the other.
Yeah,
as opposed to this is just another aspect of American culture.
Right.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'm like, I feel like I have this talk with some of my other friends, and like, I'll joke with like my white actor friends, be like, if I was white, I would have said yes to like 15 projects that I said no to the other year. Just because it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I think it'd be fun to do something kind of wild like that. But it's hard because with Asians, it's like, you want to avoid things where you're the joke, or you want to avoid things where you're like too sexy or overly sexualized, or, like you're dating like a really old guy just because Asians are always kind of used as an accessory in that way. And so I think for me, I'm always in this battle of, I might mess up my career and I might miss a big opportunity, but at the same time, do I want to, I guess, take it? I don't know. It's weird because
you have to have your values, right?
Yeah.
It must be just like a delicate balance of like where your values lie on seeing what the end project will look like and how it will affect people that look up to you versus like, that'd be fun.
Totally.
But is it going to set the stigma or stereotype back at my expense?
Does that ever get overwhelming? Because I mean, it's like hard enough to like.
Welcome to your therapy session, by the way.
Honestly, I'm like, thank you. I'm like, you understand how hard it is, the pressure.
It is difficult. It's difficult to be in the entertainment industry in the first place. Yes. And now when you have this additional pressure, we feel like, am I accurately representing? Yeah.
Is there a part or a role or a story that you have like a dream part that you would want to play that you think would be like, this would be pinnacle career moment?
Yeah, honestly, it's so funny because the more I think about it, like I've always just wanted to be like Olivia Benson on Law and Order SVU.
Oh yeah.
Where it's just she's just like the most badass woman and goes through everything hell and back, and she's just so dope.
Yeah.
But also like as an Asian American, I'm like, I have to be like there. It's just got to be like Jess from The New Girl. You know what I mean? It's got to be something so like it has nothing to do with you necessarily being like, I used to be like, oh, I want to be like a kick-ass superhero, or I want to be like a ninja or an assassin. But then it's like, wait, that's also kind of Asian. But I still want to do those things. Like, don't get me wrong. But I feel like if I were to actually make a difference, it has to be something very normalized.
Sure.
Where it's just like normal. But then it's funny because, people forget that you just got to work sometimes. Like I have a friend who always does really stereotypical stuff, like all these accents and weird things, and they like want to kill themselves after every job, but they got bills to pay.
Yeah, exactly.
They literally are struggling, starving actor, and so they're like, I can't say no.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I get it. I totally do. Like, because if you're going to say no, someone else is going to do it.
Right. No, we just had Jimmy O Yang on a couple weeks ago, and he had the same thing. He's like, I get people coming up being like, you're so funny. And then I get people coming up being like, why are you doing an accent? Yeah. And it's this struggle that he's like, it's not my show. I don't have full creative control.
Right.
So you have to walk this delicate line of trying to stand up for yourself, but also to do what your job is.
Well, it's hard because people don't get it. Like, look, if I'm playing a character who literally lives in China or lives in Korea, but comes to America like yesterday, or even 2 years ago, I should have an accent.
Sure.
So I will do it because it's accurate.
Right.
Now, if that accent is just there, just merely to make fun of, then it's a whole nother story. And so I feel like people also misunderstand that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you don't necessarily, have to. Like there was this job once where I was coming in to play this like incredible like scientist doctor, and she is trilingual. She speaks French, an Asian language, and English.
Whoa.
And she's supposed to be brilliant, like incredibly brilliant. And I did it. And then they were like, okay, can you do it again now with an accent? And I was like, well, what kind of accent? And they were like, an Asian accent. And I was like, but she speaks French.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, but she's Asian. And I'm like, okay. So I just did it like normal.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, again. And I was like, well, I'm bilingual.
Right.
Like 100%.
Yeah.
And I don't have an accent speaking either languages. And I would assume if I was trilingual, I wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, my agent called me that day and was like, what happened?
Oh, man.
That casting office probably won't see me again, but
But you had to stand up for yourself at certain
that's
times.
like the only time I like did it. Well, that and this one other time. But
you're like, and then there's this other time. And
Also,
maybe
this,
that was
this morning.
Well, no, that was like another time where it was like, they were like, it was like so like a sexualized thing. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
I'm with
it's like, I feel weird. I feel dirty.
Anytime I get an audition for anything that's like sexy wife of blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I just don't. I'm going to be uncomfortable. So it's not even going to go to me because I'm not going to be doing it the way they want it to be done. And two, it's just like not a fun thing that I want to play.
Well, and it's hard because it's like, I feel like you just have to fight for who you are because in the end, it's like, I always tell my agent, like he just doesn't do it anymore because I've been in enough of those rooms where I'm looking around and I'm like, oh my gosh, she just walks in and she like exudes sex.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Some people just like everything, like they're beautiful, like boobs, everything, like Yeah. And then I'm like, I'm wearing a dress too, but I look like a 12-year-old boy. So I'm like, I don't feel sexy.
I've gone in like actual sweatshirt and I walk in and everyone's in high heels and I'm like, this one's not going to go. So,
and then it finally got to a point where there's this one show that I kept getting called in for. It was like maybe 3 or 4 times, and I would keep going to producers for it. And then finally, my agent was like, "I think your boobs aren't big enough." And I was like, "That's hilarious, but also thank you for finally understanding what I've been trying to tell you for years and years and years." Like, if I read the script and I know what they're looking for and it's just not me and no push-up bras and socks will just do it, it's like there are other girls to do it. And that's
it's a waste of time.
Because some of those girls, no matter how tight of normal or sports bra or tape it down you do, they can't look like the girl next door.
Sure.
So,
totally.
Like,
it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your amazing dog.
Oh, Chewy.
Chewy is so adorable. Also, Chewy, amazing Instagram. Do you run Chewy's Instagram?
I do. It's funny because that whole pressure thing. So about 2 years ago, actually right around the time of like Teen Wolf, like kind of coming towards the end, I'm not always working as much. So, you were like unemployed. You start posting pictures of your dog.
Right.
You're spending more time with your dog. And then I started getting these comments like, I'm going to unfollow you. I don't follow you because of your dog. Like, post pictures of yourself.
My God.
Like, I hate your dog. And I'm like, fine, unfollow me.
Yeah.
But then I started feeling like would see stuff like, I'm scared of dogs. And I was like, you're scared of Chewy? She's like a teddy bear. You're scared of teddy bears?
Chewy literally looks like someone put a spell on a teddy bear.
But then I felt like, okay, fine. But I used to refuse to be one of those dog ladies or those dog moms. I refused. And then it just happened. Yeah. And then it just happened. And I was like, I am like that crazy mom with the baby that takes 100 angles of her baby and they all look the same, or the baby in the different clothes. But
Chewy is a star. And
thank you.
Honestly,
she is.
Takes amazing photos. How do you go about captioning them? Do you caption them as Chewy?
Oh, okay. So I've always had this running joke. I mean, all my friends know it.
Yeah.
I'm Chewy's slave.
Okay.
She's very, very high maintenance. Because when I got Chewy, she was like a thrown away runt. She was very, very sick and they were going to put her down. So this breeder, I guess, had dropped her off at this like vet / kind of pet supply place and was like, it's the run of the litter and then they can't do anything with her. And then they don't want to spend the money. And so I was like, well, can I have her? She's really cute.
Yeah.
And then my mom was like, oh yeah. Because my mom grew up with dogs. And in Asia, their dogs just ate whatever the heck you ate. And they ate whatever. Sure. Like they literally ate rice. They ate like spicy food. They ate all sorts of fried foods. They ate all. And my mom's dog lived 17 years.
Wow.
So anyways, my mom was like, oh, well, I mean, if the dog doesn't eat anything, just try giving it like mashed sweet potatoes. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, stomach problems, sweet potatoes. I was like, okay. and she wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
So I just started baking sweet potatoes and I would like mash them up and I would like spoon feed her sweet potatoes. So she ate sweet potatoes for like a week and a half and then she stopped having like diarrhea and she was like actually like, she was the size of like my hand.
Really?
And, like a hamster. And then she started growing and I was like, oh my gosh, she's like surviving.
I'm doing this.
And she was always really sad and she never moved around much.
Aww.
But then she started getting really active. And then I started mixing in with like chicken and like some vegetables and rice. And then, eventually like meat. And then eventually with like dog food.
Yeah.
And I've tried all sorts of dog foods, but she obviously was like really picky.
But you nurtured her into a real dog.
No, and now she's like seriously like a boss bitch.
Really?
And then it's crazy.
What
like
have you made?
Yeah. So she would be on set with me all the time. She would like sit in my set chair and then she would just like look. And if she can't see me, she would just be like, so they'd always like make sure she's somewhere where she can see me.
That's so funny.
We gotta get Chewy eyesight.
No, seriously. Yeah. And then, but she never barked. So I always thought she was mute too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She never barked till she's about like 3.
Wow.
So interesting.
Wow.
But I was always like, maybe she's really like dumb. But now I think people are like convinced she's really smart.
Yeah.
Because she refuses to eat unless it's something really good.
Oh, so she's picky. She's got fine taste now.
No, and now she's huge. She's like 16 pounds. She's so healthy. When I take her to the vet, they're like, she's very muscular. And I'm like, yeah, we walk like 4 or 5 miles a day and we go hiking every weekend. Like she lives the life.
Yeah.
And then like, she goes on play dates with these dogs and she just like owns every dog. Like, even big dogs, they'll be like, but she loves playing chase. And my friend has a pit bull and, got a Shiba Inu. And so she loves playing. But yeah, she's a star and I'm just her slave. And it sucks because it's not like kids. It's not like she's going to grow up and take care of me one day.
Right. Yeah, you're going to be doing this her whole life.
I know.
Well, at least you know your place.
Yeah.
I know.
How old is she?
She's 5.
She's 5.
Yeah.
Oh, so she's a grown woman right now.
I know. And she's
I mean, speaking of Instagram, so your Instagram is fantastic.
Oh, thank
How
you.
do you curate this? This is something I ask Megan Ranks every time she's here. I'm like, give me your tips.
Her Instagram is perfect.
It's beautiful.
But she really works.
Yeah, she manicures
She has like
it.
a calendar and stuff. That's like serious. No, I just do this thing where like I only wear makeup and do my hair if I have to like do work things.
Yeah.
So otherwise, take a photo.
I live in sweats. Yeah. So I'll do these things where like we just got to take a lot of photos on those days that there's makeup on my face. Or like, every once in a while there's like a, whatever. But it's funny because I'm always going through these waves of I want to start posting like anything, but then you feel pressure.
Yeah. I was
like,
say,
like I can't post my dog,
Your Instagram is so like beautiful and like a Pinterest board that I imagine that if you were like, I'm just gonna throw up a selfie with no makeup on, that people would be like, are you okay? What's going on?
Well, yeah. So like I feel like a lot really So sometimes I won't post for like a week and then I'll get these messages. My mom will call me, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm still alive. Everything's fine. I really don't have anything to post.
I have a creative block right now. I haven't worn makeup.
But I feel like I'm going through these waves. Like I think it helped like when I just recently went to Mexico and that helped because like my friend is a photographer.
Beautiful.
No, but you know what? It's her. She's so good.
Yeah.
It's like she shoots all natural lighting. She doesn't like Photoshop. She just everything about her. She like is lying in the sand to make me look tall because I'm so short. But I'm like, I love you.
Yeah.
Can every photographer just understand a woman's body? Because we don't look good from every angle. No one looks good from every angle.
Of course not.
But her, she'll be like laying in the sand and then she'll be like, okay, turn a little bit this way. Okay, it's perfect. And then it's like, don't breathe. And then snap, done. And I'm like, I love you. And I like look at the photos. I'm like, oh my God, that felt so pretty. And so
I got to get friends like that.
Yeah.
I think that helps if you have a photographer friend.
It's a photographer.
Yeah.
It's a photographer.
I got to put an ad out. And get it
No,
going.
you look great. Your photos are great too.
God bless.
I feel like, and you're tall. I
am tall. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. But I don't take a lot of like standing photos with comparisons to like people. So people are always like, in YouTube videos and stuff, I'm sitting for the most part.
Yeah.
And so when people meet me, they're like, whoa, you are way taller than I assumed you were.
Especially like formal events when you're wearing heels.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, tall Helbig.
Yeah. Just an Amazon girl walking through. Okay, we have a ton of really cool Twitter questions for you, but we're going to take a quick break.
Okay, cool.
People have a lot of curiosities about the world and life that is Arden Cho. So we'll be right back with more right after this.
Sounds good.
Not Not Too Deep.
Today's episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by Epic Reads and Invisible Ghosts. Invisible Ghosts is a heartfelt, sharply funny new novel by Robin Schneider, the author of The Beginning of Everything. It's a boy meets girl story with a major twist. Boy also meets girl's ghost brother. Rose and her brother Logan are pretty much inseparable. The only catch is that Logan died years ago in a tragic accident, and Rose is the only one who can see his ghost, or so she thinks. Staying close to her brother has meant distracting herself from everyone else, but when a childhood friend moves back to town and sparks begin to fly, Rose finds it's becoming harder to choose between the boy who makes her feel alive and the brother she isn't ready to lose. Invisible Ghost has everything you need in a perfect summer read: swoony romance, hilarious banter, and some tear-jerkingly honest moments of truth. It's a can't-miss contemporary romance perfect for fans of John Green and Nicola Yoon. Invisible Ghost is available now wherever books and audiobooks are sold.
Okay, we're back with Arden Cho. Yay! We're going to get into Twitter questions, but before we do, I'm going to ask you the two questions I ask every single guest that's on the podcast. And the first is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Cold spaghetti at?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it sounds terrible.
It could be.
know.
Or it could be great.
Or it could be delightful.
Like if I hate them.
Yeah.
I don't know why automatically I just thought of cold spaghetti being thrown at my face and just how disgusting that would be. Gosh.
I guess it depends who's throwing it, though. But who would you want to throw spaghetti at?
I would want to throw spaghetti at a lot of girls that were really mean to me in high school.
Good answer.
Totally fair.
I don't know where they are now. I don't even remember some of the names, but I would definitely want to throw just lots of spaghetti at their face. And I hope they were wearing white.
There you go. Totally fair. And also, sets a point, but isn't that violent? So it's no one really...
It just hurt.
Yeah, it's more of an emotional attack.
That is the funniest question I've ever. I've literally never even heard that question.
It's something your answer will fluctuate, depending on where you are in your life and how your emotional relationships have been with people, which is always fun to hear where people are. The second question I ask every single guest is to tell us your worst pants shitting story or close call, but you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases. So mine is college, jogging, front lawn.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it can be a close call. It can be. Are you one of those that doesn't have a story?
Cheerleading, high school practice?
Okay. That's
Yeah, that counts. That counts.
Okay. That counts. That paints a picture, but no follow-up questions.
Okay.
Cheerleading is a dangerous sport. Just a cautionary tale.
Oh, yeah. I've broken a lot of things.
Okay, let's get into these Twitter questions. They're really fun, and we got so many of them. Okay, someone wants to know, what's your best memory from the Teen Wolf set?
I think my best memory definitely has to be just working as Kira. Being Kira, I think I loved that she was so strong and all the action. I kind of miss having powers.
Yeah.
I miss being kind of badass.
Yeah.
Like it's fun to sort of play that. And then sometimes you're like, man, I really wish I could touch light bulbs and make electricity pop. Or like, I really wish I could do these things. I miss stuff like that. That was really fun whenever we would do things where they'd have like gimmicks.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, I'm so powerful.
I can do this.
I'm so strong. And you're like, lights.
That's cool.
But then it's not real.
Were there any like dangerous stunts or anything that went wrong on set?
For me, nothing too dangerous. I mean, I have like 2 herniated discs from some stuff, but it's not that bad. I mean, like I don't really know what I think it's from some whiplash stuff that we had of like getting banged into brick walls. But I mean, I was wearing like a turtleback.
Right.
But also I grew up very like rough around the edges. Like my dad's a grandmaster, so he grew up making us spar all the time.
Really?
So I like fighting and I like action. And that's one of the reasons they gave Kira a lot of stuff is because I liked doing it and I could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because initially I don't think that was the intent for her character.
That's
it's funny because
awesome,
people
though.
go, oh, well, it's like stereotypical because she fights. And I was like, well, I don't actually think she was supposed to from the beginning. It's just something they kind of started writing in more for her because I could do those things.
That's so cool.
And so, yeah, I think the only things was, some slamming. And I think I like jumped off this thing once, but nothing too crazy.
Just a normal day at the office.
Yeah, just jumping off trucks and, fighting like, 7-foot tall berserkers. Nothing too crazy.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know, which of your most recent projects was the most fun And finally, if you could play any character in a live-action Disney remake film, who would you play?
Ugh.
Are you a Disney fan?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's hard. It just depends on like the month and the time of day. Like sometimes I'm like, I have to be Ariel. But then I'm like, damn, I don't have red hair. And then I'm like, I really want to be Belle. But do I have to be white?
No, I think that's the more interesting thing.
No, right. So I think my favorites were always Ariel and Belle.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you see the Emma Watson film?
Yes.
See, I haven't seen it.
I love her. The
she's
whole time
fantastic.
I was like, it's so pretty. Yeah, so I'm like, he's so pretty.
Oh, that's
and then
fun.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I would still like love to be like Jasmine or like Mulan, only because when you're little, like that's what you think you can be.
Right. That's your comparison.
Because they're like,
yeah.
we're kind of similar color tones. Like I'm definitely not the same as Jasmine, but growing up, I dressed up as her for like Halloween sometimes because I thought I was the same.
Oh, that's fun.
I was like, she kind of looks like me. No?
But I think you could be Ariel easily.
Yes. I really want, I'm
going to put that onto the universe. Yeah. Manifest it.
Seriously.
They also want to know which of your most recent projects was the most fun?
Oh, I think, well, also probably because it's fresh and because it's different. I really love Chicago Med.
Yeah. This feels very different than everything else you've been doing.
It's my first time getting to play someone who's like bad, going to parties, being wild, like stealing drugs and like lying. I lie a lot.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to
It must
do
feel like
that.
a different muscle that gets a nice workout.
Well, it's weird because like my brother on the show, like, gosh, when he scolds me after every take, I'm like, I feel really bad. I really feel bad about myself. And I'm like, do I do that to my little brother? Because I was like that older sister. Right. It was so funny. I literally had lunch with my brother the other day and I was like, hey, am I really hard on you? I was like, I don't mean to like make you feel like shit. It's just because I care about you. And I don't want you to like mess up. And he goes, no, man, you're pretty cool. I was like, okay, good. Because in my mind, I was like, man, I feel really bad. Like,
and now you're reflecting on everything you've ever said to your brother.
And like, it's funny too, because like next week's episode, like I really mess up. And that when we were shooting that episode, like the whole week, I was like, I feel like such a fuck up. Like, I don't know about the decisions I've made in my life. Like,
that's how you know you're doing a great job at acting when you believe it yourself. No, like I did bad things.
Yeah, but it was Brian. Like Brian is great. He's like such a good brother, and like it's so funny. I always say like he's like one of my favorite people to work with. He's just so nice, and he has a super hot wife and like a really cute kid. And I'm like, it's really nice when you see a guy who's like really talented, but also super respectful, and also really like. Yeah, kind of good to his wife and good to everybody.
Just a
like,
good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're rare. But when you see one.
Well, and hopefully they're not rare. Hopefully there's a lot of them.
Yeah. Hopefully they start showing up more often.
So that's been fun.
What's the hardest thing to shoot on that show?
Honestly, I'm like, it's a breeze. No. I mean, it's been really, really easy and fun for me because I get to like kind of hop in and out. I think I know as like a viewer and like being on set and any days that we're kind of pushed behind, it's if they have like big surgeries. Right. Because they have real doctors on set and they're really doing their best to make it as accurate and legit as possible. And so it's really interesting. Yeah. We always have like doctors and surgeons on set, nurses and everything. And so it's definitely a huge process. So I feel like for the doctors, that's crazy.
Yeah. That must be so intense.
Yeah.
Do you get queasy around that kind of stuff?
Yes, I think it's disgusting.
And that sounds like I could never do a show like that.
I'm going to go throw up and I'm probably can't eat today. So thanks. And they're like, look at these intestines. And they're like, oh my gosh, look at his heart. It's pumping. And I'm like, it's pumping. It's real. But it looks so real. It's disgusting.
Yeah. I couldn't do that.
I mean, I love when they show me the props where like the knife, you like cut it and you squeeze this and blood oozes. And I'm like, kill him. He's not moving. I think you really cut him.
Jeez. Oh, yeah. That would freak me out. I couldn't do it. That would be a little too much. Okay. Someone wants to know if you could spend a night with one person, alive or dead, who would it be?
These questions are always so hard for me.
I know. They're very vague. And I'm sure this is one of those I feel like spaghetti, it changes depending on your mood.
Yeah.
Or let's say this. If there's an actor that you haven't worked with yet that's like on your bucket list to be in something with.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I just want to like, I feel like I'm not even like good enough to like hang out with her or like be in anything with her.
Who?
I love Natalie Portman.
She's fantastic.
That's a good answer.
Or like Nicole Kidman.
Oh my God.
Also
but it's
answer.
Like, yeah, like these are people that I'm like, I'm not even good enough to work with you. But I just want to have like lunch with you. But then I feel like I'll be really weird.
I would just be staring at Nicole Kidman's face being like, how is it real? Why doesn't it move?
Where did you come from?
Pretty.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. And in Big Little Lies.
I still haven't. I watched like part of the
Please
first
watch
episode.
it.
I know.
No!
This is the thing everyone's been telling me.
You can watch it all in one day.
I know. That's the thing. I know it's going to be one of those shows where
Yeah.
I burn a whole day just, obsessed with it. Have you watched
It's
it, Jack?
so good.
I read the book and then
and she's so good.
when I
at
watched
it.
the first episode, I was like, I don't. It felt very different than the book. The book I thought was really funny.
Okay.
Oh,
and
it's
this is
not
way
funny.
darker,
And
right?
it was
dark.
darker and like
Yeah.
much more dry. And I was like, I'll
Oh.
pick up this up later. And I just haven't gotten back to it yet.
Yeah.
But because
To
I
do
heard how
this.
great it is.
Yeah.
It's just different, and I wasn't ready for the difference. So I will watch it, but I just haven't caught up to it yet.
Yeah.
It's also one of those shows where you've got to get the wheels going. You got to get the momentum.
yeah.
I don't think by the first you're not hooked.
I think that's what happened. I watched part of the first episode and I just had to go do something. And so I wasn't hooked enough to be can't wait to go back and finish
Yeah.
it.
But it's one of those shows that I keep hearing that it's worth the investment.
Totally. Well, on the to-do list it goes.
Yeah.
Okay, someone says, I have a very scandalous question,
Oh no.
but I will skip them in favor of how sweet is Chewy Cho?
Oh, that's very nice
Yeah.
and interesting. Okay, my fans are so nice. They're really,
so sweet.
really nice. Sometimes I have a friend who's on YouTube and will be like, you're not growing because you don't have haters. And I'm like, it's okay. I don't want to grow. I just want to stay with my really nice fans because I love them. I appreciate them and they're great. But
So
yeah,
what-
Chewy Cho is very sweet.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the experience doing YouTube videos versus being on set. How has that been for you? And are you still making YouTube videos and that sort of content?
So I have gone through waves. I think when I started Teen Wolf, I just stopped because I just was super overwhelmed. I
You're
had never
busy.
been on set every week or
Right.
every day. So there was a whole new world for me.
Sure.
And then when Teen Wolf ended, I really wanted to create again. And so I wanted to do YouTube, but then it's also very hard and very expensive. Every
Yeah.
video costs a lot of money. This last year, I did about, I think 100 videos and I spent a
Wow.
lot of money because, you got to pay for someone to film it and you have to pay to edit it or someone's going
Right.
to help you with some graphics or I don't know. I guess I'm also not about free work. I like it
Sure.
when people get paid for what they do. And so, I put, a lot of money into it, but then I make no money on YouTube. 'Cause
Right. So
I'm
you're where's the
well, I'm
dividends here?
It's funny because it's you have 500,000 subscribers, but it's technically a dead channel. So then,
Yeah.
I will, on covers, I might get 300,000, 500,000 views, but I'm not with any of the MCNs or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Because I kind of missed that. I didn't really jump on that ship.
Yeah, which is also kind of fading anyway. I
Yeah.
feel like the whole system is changing and maneuvering and
Right.
pivoting and
And I just didn't think it seemed super beneficial because I was like, why should I give you so much of
Exactly.
my
What are you doing
for me?
percentage? But what are you going to do
Especially
for
when
me?
there's so little money to be made on YouTube right now.
Right. I'm like, I'm
So
making a
concentrated.
penny. You want
Yeah.
half a penny? Should I cut it in half for
Yeah.
you?
Right.
What do you want?
want?
So I think I just have always been for me, YouTube is it's so interesting. It's I always try to tell myself, this is my creative playground. This is where I
Yeah.
can talk about things I want to talk about, or this is where I can share songs I like, or
Mhm.
just have fun. And then there's no pressure, no rules.
right.
But it's tough because I always feel this pressure of, okay, I can't just take a video with my iMac anymore. It's got to be something fancy.
Oh,
and
trying to
I
keep
feel
up
this
with everything.
pressure.
Yeah.
And then, acting is, I love because it's such a big collaborative effort where you've got
Sure.
150 plus people working on one thing together. And all I have to do is show up and know my lines.
Yeah.
But if I'm producing a music video for YouTube, it's I've got to book the engineer. I got to book the sound
So many
studio.
moving
I've got
parts.
to record this. I got to make sure the videographer's available. I got to
Right.
figure out what to wear. I got to
Yeah.
I'm
You're producing your own videos.
and I can't do that. I can't do that. I can barely remember to do my laundry.
Yeah.
I think it really stresses me out and I get a lot of anxiety. So then after this last year, I was like, I need a break.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
But that's the good thing about YouTube is that it affords you the opportunity to take a break and it'll always be there. And it should
But
be
then
something.
It's hard because it's just to get back to my normal views, it took
Yeah.
about a year and then I stopped.
Yeah. No,
So
I'm with
I
you.
think if I would have kept going, I could have maybe started making a little bit of money, at least
Sure.
to cover some costs.
Sure.
But eventually it's just a really expensive hobby.
And maintaining consistency, which I have been very flip-floppy about recently, is just tough because there is a formula that you can figure out. Consistency over time will have some sort of success outcome, but it's just really self-motivating for that consistency is so tough sometimes. It's
No,
nuts.
that's self-motivation. I totally agree. Because there are days where I'm like, I'm going to record this vlog. I have this great idea.
Right.
And then I set up the lights and then I'm like, oh, my hair looks weird. Oh, I can't know what to
100%.
wear. And then it's like, oh.
And then you just talk yourself out of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
and then you just stop.
I
do that. Go eat pizza instead.
Yeah, I could watch TV. That's an easier activity.
Mm-hmm.
Are you working on any more music?
Oh, nothing original. I've also been uninspired to write.
Gotcha.
I'm like, I don't know.
But you've been super busy in so many different avenues, and I'm sure your brain is like, we just want to rest for a second.
It's a little tired. Yeah. So, but music-wise, I've actually been kind of literally just this week been like, I want to record some more covers. So I've been kind of like thinking.
That's cool.
Nothing really in the works.
How do you combat like creative blocks? Is there stuff that you do? Do you travel? Do you
I think for me,
yourself?
I always say when I feel like I'm creative, I have to find ways to like have like a little joy or happiness.
Yeah,
but I think it gets really hard. And this is something that I've been battling, in the last couple of years, which is like, what do you do?
Right.
Like, I almost don't know how to like have fun, because then when I'm working, it's like 17-hour days, work. No, seriously. Well, it's hard because like I don't really like clubbing. It's really like hot and there's a lot of people, and then you have to like
not a club person.
And then I don't really like. I mean, like the girls come over and we drink, and that's fine. You know, we just chill. But then it's hard because then it's like, and I like massages, but you can only get so many massages, and then and then I don't know what else is there. So I feel like I've been in this place where I'm like, I don't know what to do anymore. And it's like, I don't like shopping. I don't like the stuff that people think girls should like. I don't like doing makeup or hair. I don't know, like some girls do that. They like get together and want to do makeup parties.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Yeah. So then when I'm by myself, but if I'm by myself too long, I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
Oh,
I have to work.
You're speaking my
language
language
right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm very much an introvert, and I mean, like I can be social and be on set and do things.
Yeah,
but then you reach like a point where your batteries are so low that
and you
got
to be in silence and solitude for 2 days.
Right. And then but then I also just am so easy. It's so easy for me to isolate. And then I get into that point where I'm like, Helbig, you gotta go out into society because you're gonna go crazy up here by yourself.
Yeah, no, totally. It's crazy because then it's like people will be like, oh my gosh, you're back in town, let's eat. And then I'm like, I look at my phone and I'm like, I ordered Postmates 2 times every day the last 2 days. And I didn't tell anybody. Like, it's like,
yeah.
But like, I don't want to tell people I'm here because I'm like tired.
Yeah, because
But then I'm not tired. But then I'm like sad because I'm like, oh, but I feel lonely now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just really weird. I'm sure you can relate.
We can all relate to that.
It's a total pendulum swing because you're like, I know I want to be by myself, so I don't want to say yes to these plans. But then when the plans are happening, you're like, I feel like I should be out there. Now I feel bad being by myself. So it's just a constant dialogue with yourself.
Totally.
I also can relate to you because I don't like going to clubs or anything like that. But I went to a friend just had a board game party.
I love those.
That was so
there you go.
fun.
So I invite people over to play Mafia. Have you played Mafia?
Oh yeah, that's
I've never.
great.
I
That's
know
really fun.
Oh my gosh,
I've never
like
played.
cried. My neighbors almost called the cops because they thought that I was having like domestic violence in my house.
What?
No, so like we were one night playing Mafia from, don't judge us, from like 10 o'clock till 4 a.m.
Oh my
and
goodness.
At 4 a.m., I'm screaming like, I'm not I'm choosing that. I swear. And I'm like screaming and I forgot that it's 4 a.m. and I'm like literally at this point on my knees pleading.
Oh my God.
That I'm not the mafia. And I was totally the mafia. So much fun. But like
it's an acting exercise.
Oh gosh, it's so much fun. So then, but then now I have friends that are like, we don't want to play mafia with you.
You took it too far.
A little too far.
You're really good at it.
No, it's fun. I have like a few friends who, when we play, it gets.
That's super fun.
We actually did that like about, I don't know, maybe like 2 months ago.
That's awesome. Someone wants to know, I know that Hawaii has a special place in her heart and it's probably her favorite vacation spot, but is there another place that she loves just as much?
Ooh, yeah, I love Hawaii because I'm a creature of habit and I feel like I know exactly what foods I like there. I know where I like to go.
Plus,
and I always feel
so
safe.
Relaxing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I also really loved, Langkawi.
Where's that?
It's in Malaysia.
Okay.
And it was like a deserted island. It was beautiful and it was just so calm.
That's awesome.
And I loved like Bali because it was like also the same. I just surfed. I hung out with like Indonesians every day and we just went surfing. So I feel like
fun.
I like vacation spots where there's like no people.
That
and no
adds
partying.
Up. That adds up.
I just want to like be in the water. I want to like snorkel. I want to surf. And then I want to like eat good food and drink at night.
That
and
sounds
then
like
repeat.
a good vacation.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Rinse and
But
repeat.
it's like, it's hard because it's like a lot of my friends are like, oh my God, we got to go to like this party. We got to do this. Or like, we got to go to the city. We got to go do all this tourist stuff. So like, I recently found out that like, I really don't like doing the sightseeing stuff. I'm like, well, I've seen pictures and I've read it in books and that's cool. It looks way better in the picture.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's cool. I saw it. Like I've been to Paris a couple times, but I've like never actually like been in the Eiffel Tower. I've never done that stuff.
Right.
But I feel like I love the city.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have to like stand in line for 7 hours and go up there to say that I did it.
No, I'm not a sightseeing person when I travel. I'm like, let's find a great restaurant to go to. I want a delicious dinner. I want to have like good cocktails.
Yeah.
And I want to chill in a nice like Airbnb or hotel room.
Exactly.
And like walk around if I want to, but not do the whole like, let's get on the double-decker bus and spend 7 hours looking at things.
I can relate to that too. I like kind of trying to live like a local for a couple of days.
Yeah,
just to sort of get a feel
I love
for the place.
that. Yeah, and eating like the local food and like just walking around. But it's funny because you realize as you get older, people travel very differently.
Oh,
and people have very different meanings of vacations. Like I have friends that certain friends after vacation, I get sick for a week because like it was just too hard. Like we had a 15-hour schedule every day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm cool if we just like eat a couple times.
Yeah, exactly. I need very minimal activities.
I want to relax.
Yeah.
No, I have friends that literally get overwhelmed with anxiety if they're in the hotel room for too long. They're like, I have to go out. Then I'm like, all right, fine.
Yeah, this is where I want to be.
I know. I love this bed. It's clean and gets made for me. It's amazing.
Totally.
So I want to know, have you ever been starstruck? And if so, by who?
No. Oh, well, not really. I mean, one time I was eating and I like looked over and I was like, hey, that's George Clooney.
Whoa.
And then I was like, oh, cool. But then like I was eating and then he like, and then I accidentally like looked again, but I didn't mean to. And then he like smiled and I was like, oh, he smiled. So I was like, okay, that's cool.
He was like, oh, that's Arden Cho.
Yeah. No, you're right. He was like, this little Asian girl looking at me. No, so that was fine. I'm thinking anytime I saw somebody, and that was like 8 years ago. It's always been like kind of normal. I mean, one time saw like John Mayer and Katy Perry eating.
That's fun.
But that was like right before that. I was like, oh, I didn't know they were friends. And then I think like months later I heard, oh, they were dating, or then they broke up. And I was like, hey, I saw them together one time.
They were, truly dating.
You're part of their romance.
But I'm the worst because I'll be like, hey, isn't that so-and-so? And they're like, no, that's a different rapper. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No,
so I feel really bad because I'm really bad at recognizing. Or
Same.
Have you ever done this where like I see someone, I'm like, hey, and I think I know them. And I'm like,
oh, I hate when I do that.
Yeah.
That's so embarrassing.
I know. And then I'm like,
no.
oh, I'm so sorry. I thought we worked together. I thought you were my friend's
100%.
boyfriend. I thought you were my friend's sister, but you are just somebody I've seen on TV. Bye.
100%. I have a friend that he told me the story about how he was at a gas station one time and he looked over and he thought he saw a guy that he went to like Jewish school with when he was younger. And so he walked up to him, got all the way up to him, and was just like, hey, and then realized it was David Schwimmer and was like, we didn't. Okay. Never mind. Thought you were someone else. And like embarrassingly went back to his car and got gas. I was like, but it happens. I mean, and people that are that recognizable must get that all the time.
Yeah. No, I've heard of stories about like my friend's like dad like hugging someone once, thinking it was like their daughter's like friend. It was like a famous person. And I was like, oh gosh.
I did that once when I was a little kid, and I'm still embarrassed by it.
Who was it?
No, I thought it was like my mom, but it like, wasn't my mom. And I like ran up to her like, mom, and then she looks at it, she's like, nope. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
I've definitely walked up to a woman and held her hand in a store when I was like a little kid and looked up and was like,
you're not my mother.
No, stranger danger. So I want to know, what's the most recent embarrassing thing that you've done? These are things that I repress very deeply, so I never can remember.
I'm like, embarrassing. It happens all the time. It just depends on the day.
How about like on this press tour? Because it must be really fun to be able to do the press tour with the other girls too.
Yeah. We just started and it sucks because like Karuchi's film. That doesn't suck. I'm glad she's filming.
Yeah.
Happy for her. But it sucks she's not here with us. Oh. And then like Sasha was busy with her wedding stuff. And so the recent stuff has just been me and Megan, which is great. Nothing embarrassing with press stuff except, oh my gosh, we were just talking about it. I always feel like, then this, I guess it's not embarrassing, but I feel embarrassed. I always feel either overdressed or underdressed, or I don't know what to wear or what to do. And it's like, I feel like that always embarrasses me and gives me anxiety, but I know it doesn't really matter.
And if you're with Megan is very stylish.
Yeah,
so
dude, she looks so good. And then she's like so tall and sexy. And I'm like, I'm just a small little thing next to you. And then I was like, and then at the last film festival, I was like, why did everybody wear black and I wear red? I'm just this red cherry blob next to all of you tall, skinny girls. And they're all so tall.
Are they? I know Megan is. But I didn't know the rest of them were.
So yeah, I'm just like, ugh. But not recently discovered, but I think my whole like wardrobe issue is because when I was really, really little, I was in orchestra.
Okay.
And I think, so my parents, you know, they immigrated. So my mom didn't really speak a lot of English, but I think she misunderstood like the dress code for our recital.
Oh.
And it was just supposed to be like, everybody wore like black slacks and black whatever.
Right.
I'm not even joking you. I wore like this wedding gown. Seriously? Yeah, you laugh now.
Oh,
I had nightmares.
Oh
so
my
it was like a gown. It was so long and so big and poofy. It was like bigger than a Cinderella gown. Lace everywhere, long sleeve lace.
Oh my God. Are there photos of this?
No.
You're like, I burned all
of them. This was like before, I think there was cameras. I'm just kidding. No, but I had nightmares.
Oh my
and then to this
God.
day, I have I would have these nightmares that I like show up to school wearing like, I don't know, like mismatched shoes or like slippers from home or pajamas.
Yeah.
So I always have this issue with like clothes.
Well, that's the inciting incident. I feel like we found the core root of this problem.
No, so then I have one of my friends has a theory that's why I don't like going out is because I never know what to wear.
Oh, that is,
Sure.
yeah, that's debilitating.
So sometimes like I'll be like, oh, I want to go, but I have nothing to wear, or I don't have help, so I'll just wear sweats.
Yeah, I don't have feedback.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like people just assume like if you're an actor, you got to be good at that stuff, and I'm like,
oh no, that's why stylist is a whole job that exists for people.
Oh yeah.
They know much better than
and then now I'm learning too, because it's like when I first started getting stylists, they would put me in things and I'd be like, okay. And then I would feel so uncomfortable. So now I'm learning that, okay, you can't just say yes to everything.
Oh,
you got to find things that like work for your body or you, because like now when I look back at like press photos, I'm like, can we just delete them all? Isn't there like a delete select all button? But it's like, because for so much of my like career in the beginning, I just did what everybody else wanted me to do. And I just said yes, because I didn't know you like
could do anything else. Yeah.
But now that I'm like, oh, I have a choice, then I'm like, oh, is this right?
Now I have
too much?
Too many choices.
But yeah, so now I'm just trying to like be in this like, don't be embarrassed, just do it. But
I think that's
struggling
great advice.
today.
I think that's great advice for everyone. I think across the board, fashion related, life related.
Yeah,
that's
just wear whatever you want.
There you go. I feel like that's a great moral of this entire episode, because we've gotten to the end of this podcast episode, Arden.
Yay!
Thank you so much for being here. Before you go, we have a gift for you.
Oh, exciting.
A personalized fortune cookie just for you.
Nice.
And you can feel free to open it up. Julie has it right there.
Oh my gosh, so exciting.
Yes.
Okay. Just open it. Don't want to spill. Okay. And it says, whoa, there's two. Whoa, this is like it's a really long one. Okay, next time we gather, you will bring Chewy. Wow. Yeah. Next time we gather, you will bring Chewy. No, seriously, it's in the fortune cookie. This is pastry law. Yep. I love it, and I totally would have brought her.
It's okay. I didn't want to traumatize what a beautiful, beautiful creature. But Arden, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Where can people find you online? Where can they find the movie? All that good stuff.
The movie will be available on iTunes and online on May 11th and so it's 15th out already. And digital.
Yeah,
it's out now.
You
guys, this is like the future.
Yeah.
We just went from the past to the future.
So make sure you go
already
check it out.
It's online. Please watch The Honor List. And you guys can find me at ARDN_Cho, CHO, pretty much anywhere.
Awesome.
On Instagram or Twitter, whatever.
Or
YouTube, Arden Cho.
There you go. And I highly recommend checking out her social media platforms. They are miraculously curated and very inspirational. So thank you again, Arden. We'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Bye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep, not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Armed with the measurements of millions of women, Third Love scrapped the standard bra cup molds and developed their own with sizes ranging from AA through G. They guarantee a perfect fit, plus returns and exchanges are always free. Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone, so right now they're offering the beautiful listeners of Not Too Deep 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/grace to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/grace for 15% off today.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated Incorporated.
Produced and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer Melissa D. Mons.
With writing by Diane Kang. Audio support by Chris Henry.
Editing by Melissa D. Mons.
And an extra special thank you to Flula for the theme music.